is what I really want to talk about. Why
Mm-hmm.
do we glorify genocide? Why do we glorify? And I know, like I said, in my head, it's been infiltrated with the storylines and the music, with the storylines in the movies. So it's
Mm-hmm.
been given to us like this is the norm. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
like, why do we not reject that? Being that, knowing that, just one of my friends, just it's been 15 years, dude, and they just found out the killer. When that happened, dude, that shook the whole community of Miami. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like one person, you know, committed a murder, shook a whole community of people, a family. You know what I mean? That's what happens when people die. You
Mm.
know what I'm saying? So why do we sit there and act like it's cool?
How long? I, wow. I don't. That's a serious question, man. I think when I think about like it's funny that and I know like you talk about you go through like football and stuff like that is a good avenue to kind of talk about like mindset and stuff like that, because athletics requires you to work
Mm-hmm.
to get to where you want to go.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting that like when I think about examples of like if I'm like a little kid, right, and I'm like a little black kid, and it's what do you want to be when you grow up, right? How many different examples of like different things do you see people that look like you represented in? It's not a lot more than rapping and athletics,
Yep.
you know. And I don't know where I really don't know how the violence kind of I think you just get conditioned to it, like you said, because it's already been so ingrained into our quote unquote culture that by the time you're cognitive of what they're actually saying, it's just like, it is what it is. You're listening to it. You think it's in one ear and out the other, but I mean, people rap the words too, so hey, they having fun. I don't know where that comes from. It's all a mix, man. I guess the if the movies are violent and the music is violent, then it goes together. It goes hand in hand, right?
Right. It does. Boom. We in the gym. Fucking the EJ's gym. A guy to elevate your mindset. Yo, I got Lil Bro on the line. What's good, Lil Bro? How you, man?
Good, man. Good. How you doing?
All right, my little bro living the West Coast life. So what do you want the people to call you? I know we probably talked about this before. Do you want them to call you? I'm not gonna say your name out to put them out there. What do you want the people to call you?
uh, yeah, Richard is fine.
Richard, that is his
Rich,
name.
that's what the friends
Rich,
call me.
Richie Rich.
Whatever, yeah. Lil Bro, that's that's cool too. I don't mind.
All right, all right, all right. So, all right, so like me and Little Bro, like I said, we have these conversations about self-awareness, environment, what you like to call the culture, right? We have these conversations all the time. And I ran into this video, and this video, I was like, okay, I want to watch this, video with my little bro and see, what you think and your perspective on the video, and we can dialogue about it after.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
So,
I'm ready to get into it.
you ready to get into it?
Yeah, it seemed
All right,
like
let me see.
I'm good.
All right. Let me find the video. I think I have it up.
Okay.
I'm from AntonDaniels.com.
Can you hear?
Of course, I'm in downtown Detroit, as you can see. We're Motown, Berry Gordy.
That's good. You can hear it. I'm hearing it come through the headphones pretty clear.
Yeah. Perfect.
Oh, awesome. Good.
We could do that.
All right. So,
And you can pause and interject whenever you like.
okay, for sure.
You running the show. We in Richard's gym right now.
Oh man, the pressure is on.
Pressure's on. You got the floor, baby.
Wow. All right. So we can go ahead and kick it.
Yeah, go ahead.
For sure.
What's going on? It's Anton from AntonDaniels.com. Of course, I'm in downtown Detroit, as you can see. We're Motown, Berry Gordy, all the greatest Motown artists recorded all of their greatest hits and everything like that. But I just found it fitting for me to be down here speaking about the specific subject that I wanted to speak about as it pertains to myself. And really, I just wanted to go over and discuss why I gave up rap music. Not necessarily tell you what you should or shouldn't do, but just give you my perspective and my experience as it relates to rap music. I felt like it was time for me to go to another level in my life. And in order for me to do that, it was important for me to not only accomplish some things that I never accomplished before, but also give up some things. And one of those things that I've always felt like it was important for me to transition from is rap music. And there's several reasons as to why I felt like it was important for me to give this up, but let me just give you a little bit of history. I've loved rap music since I almost feel like when I first came out the womb. I'm an 80s baby. I was born in 1982. So the era that I gravitated to the most was really the mid to late 90s. But I loved all the old school artists because my brothers was really into the old school artists. One of my
Real quick, I just want to say, like, I like how he was like, you know, he realized there was certain things he would have to give up,
Yeah.
and certain things you have to like start doing. And
Mhm.
I definitely agree with that. You know, like
Mhm.
you gotta in like containing to the what we're talking about. Like, you know, you kind of realize that there's certain changes that you got to make to like move forward to level up. You know,
Mm.
you listening to the same stuff that you was listening to maybe when you was 17, 16. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So but you want to be a different person, but you're doing the same things.
Mhm.
You know, so I just thought that was cool. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Right.
My brother's favorite artist in particular was Ice Cube, but my favorite artist of all time just so happened to be Tupac. But I've always loved hip hop, I've always loved rap, but I felt like that was something that was always holding me back. And I know there will probably be a lot of debate about it. It already is. Every time I go somewhere, not only is there debate about who's the greatest of all time, what the artists today are doing compared to the artists of yesteryear. In addition to that, you know, is a lot of debate on the effect of rap music. I personally just believe that it's a negative effect, that there's nothing really good that come out of it, and you have so many people affected by it in a negative way. Maybe I don't feel like
He said nothing good.
All right, so we could talk about that, like, because this is all perspective. All right, so what? All right, so as far as rap, what's popular? Let's say this, right? If I had to fill in the blank for him, and let's say what's popular. So is what's popular, like, basically what's popular is glorifying genocide, murder, and women, and different things. And I'm guessing those are the things that he's talking about. What do you think? What perspective do you think he has?
I mean, yeah, when you get down to rap, a lot of the conversation is surrounding like well, when you get to people talking about the effect of it, it's surrounding, you know, violence and stuff like that, and the money spending culture, and like the way they talk about women and stuff like that. I'm just trying to think back in my head. You know, I'm a little bit younger than you are, so you probably had a little bit more exposure to some better rap than I did, for sure. So I'm trying to think of a time where there was like some stuff that was mainstream that maybe wasn't to that same tune. I can't put my hand on anything in particular, but I'm trying to think of, like, you know, like popping artists at like people that were at the top of the
Yeah,
game at a certain
yeah,
point, but
yeah,
maybe they weren't on that kind of tip. But
yeah,
I
yeah. I
don't know.
mean, just like he said, he mentioned Tupac. And,
Right.
he had different tracks. He had, I mean, Tupac was all over the place. I'm not gonna lie, he was one of
Yeah,
my
he
favorite
had
artists. But he
errors.
was he was definitely all over the place. He'll give you a message, and then he'll
Right.
say shoot him up.
Yeah.
What was the track he made about Biggie? You know what I
About
mean?
Biggie.
He'll
Was
hit
that
him
Who
up,
Shot
hit him
You?
up.
Or
Who
yeah, Hit 'Em
shot
Up?
you? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? All of that. You know what I mean? Well, who shot you was
Oh,
Biggie.
yeah, it was
You
Biggie.
know,
Yeah.
and those
See, there
guys were
you go.
kind
I
of.
told you.
You say what now?
I said, there you go. I told you that's right around the time where I was legit, maybe, or even I might not even have been born or something. So
Right,
yeah,
right, right.
that's
So just even, like those guys, I mean, Biggie was a lyricist, you know what I mean?
right. Oh,
And Tupac was more
crazy
of a
flows.
realist, is what I call it. And
Okay.
he would drop messages in his music, but just at the same time, he would, talk about shooting a nigga or get, I mean, different things. I would never say Tupac would glorify. At times he would glorify some of the negativity, but that's what a lot of artists did. But he had some of the activists in him as well. But it was all over the place. Let's just say that. You know what I
Right.
mean? Sometimes it
Yeah.
was here and sometimes it was there. You know what I mean? So
And I'm thinking about it too. You know, there's like a whole section of rap, like conscious rap, quote unquote, whatever. So it's like completely separated from like regular rap, you know, like rap that's not talking about that kind of stuff. So
Right.
yeah, and
Right.
it's it's a whole subgenre, so it's not as popular.
Right. So I
And
mean, go ahead.
no, I was about to push it, but if you got to say something, go ahead.
But no, go ahead and play.
Okay, for sure.
Like I'm as affected by it in a negative way as it pertains to my actions on a daily basis, but I just think that everything that you do, it has to happen mentally first. And for me, it's just important that I'm always mentally clear, mentally stable, always thinking positive. And I just can't do that listening to the music that I used to listen to. Let me also just be 100% honest. I've been trying, or I've known that this is something that I felt like I needed to give up for a long time. Ever since I was a young kid, a teenager, I've always known and felt in my heart rap music was one of the things that I needed to transition away from. Like I said, I know it's gonna be a lot of debate as to, oh, you can listen to it and still be this. I just wanna be 100% of whatever it is that I am. If I'm 100% positive, I want to 100% listen to positive music. And it's a lot of reasons why I can give it up, but I just don't feel like rap music is helping anybody, especially our communities outside of the people that's actually getting rich from it. So maybe the artists is helping. Let's just be real. I mean, how many people do you know that wanted to be a rap artist or want to be a basketball player, but you know, that's like a 1 in a billion chance for you to ever really be a successful artist in that way. At the time that I'm making this video, I'm 34 years old, and I have no desire to be a rap artist or anything like that. I consider myself to be relatively successful in what it is that I do on a daily basis. I do well financially, and I really think it's harder to communicate to you guys the reasons why I feel like it'll help me be a better person. People try to detach themselves because that's what they really want to do, and they say, well, I can listen to it, but that doesn't mean that I have to become what it is that they're talking about. I think that you are who you surround yourself with and who you listen to without even trying subconsciously and
You want to get into that?
Ooh, yes, because the whole thing is, and I wrote some things down and some stuff that I want to talk about.
Okay.
Is perspective creates your reality. And if that's the case with a lot of kids, and I remember me, kids, I look, Tupac was one of my favorite, rappers. And a lot of times, a lot of people call rappers storytellers. So when you're listening to this music, you're getting an image or a perception of what life is from his perspective. Whatever he's giving you. Now, he could have just imagined a rhyme. But to you as a kid, you're listening to it and you think it's real.
And that's and your imagination is blowing up. So you painting a picture of the world in your brain, and that's the first thing that's gonna color the way you see the world, for sure.
And they could have been just some words he put together. Let's just be real here. Not saying that certain things don't happen sometimes. Sometimes guys just sit down and they think and they just put words together. Oh, this sounds good. I mean, let me put this on the track.
A lot of dudes just go in the booth. They don't even write, it's just whatever comes to your mind, stream of conscious type deal. It might not even be, it could be something you heard from somebody else.
And I don't even think that was popular until people found out how Lil Wayne started recording.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Definitely. You know what I mean? So
he definitely was big on he definitely used to flaunt that a lot, for sure.
You know what I mean? And so that's deep. I think especially as a young mind, as an adult, we can figure it out. But as a kid, we don't know any better. We only know what we see. First off, we know what we see outside of when we are living our lives outside of our doors, in our neighborhoods, in our schools, wherever you are. But on television and listening to music, you just take whatever they give you as reality. Oh man, he's the toughest this. Oh, he's this, that. Oh man, he's the baddest. Just like he said, there's always a conversation of who's the best rapper. And one of those guys, I guarantee you, they think he's the toughest too.
It's from that 11 to 15 range, where you so impressionable, but you don't really know nothing because you're just in school the whole time.
Yeah.
And it's like outside of, and I mean, social media and stuff like we watching YouTube right now, that's come on a little bit like more now, but music, it has always been such a heavy part of like our life, and even like what you said, like the culture, like you like to call it, or put the air quotes, right? The culture.
Yeah.
That is like it's always there. So that's always going to be something that's having a big impact on the way like a kid sees the world from that range, that 11 to 15 range. Like I said, that's such like a pivotal time as like a just seems like as a kid out
It
here.
is. It is.
Yeah.
So popular rap, what type of influence is popular rap having on an 11 to 15-year-old? If we think about the content of the rap, what type of influence that, and I'm guessing this is what he's saying about is it does nothing good,
Right.
but the people who's actually like the rappers and the people behind the scenes and these executives and these companies that's making money, but is it helping or harming the consumer?
He said, like people will say, oh, I can listen to it, but that doesn't mean I'll become what's in the music. But that requires a certain, you have to already have that established self-awareness. You kind of already have to have your own thing. And as a kid, you listen to your music, you enjoy your music, so you identify with it.
Yes.
You know, and so that's, you know, you can't really say the same for the kids.
You can't detach,
know?
just like you said, the kids,
Nah, you
they're
can't.
gonna identify, just like you said, they're
Right.
gonna connect with the music. They're gonna be like, this is me, this is my
Right.
culture.
This is what I love. This is they're like they're the biggest fans of stuff. When you're a kid and you latch onto something, you latch on. That's why they market so well to kids, you know, because it's easy to get them to, oh mom, let me get this, like, you know, get them to spend that money.
But what is the hidden message? That's like some of the hidden messages. Let's say of popular rap music. What are some of the hidden messages or the songs that are popular?
You feel like there's hidden messages?
Like, yeah, I'm just saying, like, what, like, just say if you had to take a poll, right? And you listen to, I don't know, like some of these new rappers, Tupac, whatever, and you would get the gist of what they're talking about. What would it, what is the message? What's the hidden message?
I mean, if you ask me, you know, you get your money,
get money.
You spend it fast, you know, you get your
designer
clothes,
designer
you know, the beautiful women, you know what I'm saying? The money, when the money comes, the women come.
Right.
You know, you got to do what you do to protect yourself, you know, so that might be some violence.
But protect yourself against who? It's two people to protect yourself
against people trying to take your money.
Okay, all right, wait, okay, they're gonna say people trying to take your money, but if we listen to majority, and I'm just generalizing here, and I'm generalizing for a conversation so we can really talk about it. But just all right, what the two people, right? Two people. Who do we glorify killing in rap music? If we had to, you know, like I said, take a poll. If you listen to songs from the 90s all the way to now, who we talk about killing?
Everybody. It sound like just somebody from your neighborhood, somebody around the corner,
somebody
that you
around,
don't like.
somebody who look like you in the police.
Yeah.
Who?
Oh, and the police.
Somebody who look like you in police. You never hear anybody saying anything about killing another race, another kind. Nothing. You'll hear them. You might hear them say something about a white boy cracker, this, that, excuse my language, whatever. You might hear that, but you're not gonna hear them say, "Oh, I'm a killer boy." I'm not saying, I'm not promoting that. I'm just saying, what's the gist of the music? You know what I mean? Kill somebody who look just like you. Somebody who's in the neighborhood right around the corner from you. Why is that? Right? I mean, you would say nowadays because all right, so let me bring it back. Well, I say somebody around the corner who look like you because you have these gangs, right? I'm talking about gangs. You have gangs, but you have gangs that's from a neighborhood that's down the block from the next neighborhood.
Right. And it's like, it seems from the way I understand it, the little bit that I know about like the gang culture and kind of how it like blossom in the US, it seems like a lot of it now is just like leftover from before, and people just kind of get in, like you said, like just neighborhoods like right next to each other and just getting mixed up, kind of mixed into the violence just for the sake of the violence. It seems like a lot of the
but that's
time.
what I'm saying. That's part of like some of the hidden messages in the music. You know what I mean? Because once a lot of like celebrities or rappers or whatever you want to call them started claiming gangs, now all of a sudden gangs started sprouting up everywhere. You got probably gangs in Mississippi now.
That's true. That's true. That's true. I see what you're saying. Everybody has, yeah, even like now a lot of the young rappers and stuff too, they have like this thing, they'll put like acronyms and stuff in front of their name or whatever. And sometimes it's like not a gang, but I don't know. They always it's a weird thing, I guess.
Right, right. So everybody has a gang, a clique, or
right.
The
Yeah,
whole
like
thing
their
is
little clique, exactly.
Where did they learn that?
Yeah.
Where did they learn? Where did they learn that? Where did they learn these behaviors from, dude?
I guess that's the only place. That's the common denominator, right? And most of those, I mean,
monkey see,
I'm gonna
monkey
say
do.
99.9% of those households grow up listening to rap. Oh,
what do you mean? You said
just like you said, it's everywhere. Like black people, you know, people that look like us, whatever. Like we listen to rap. That's a part of the identity. You know, now that's a part of it. It's bigger than just the music. Like it's it's people take it there like it's a part of themselves, their taste and their music and stuff like that, and who their favorite artists are and stuff. Yeah.
You know, and sometimes, man, and I'm not gonna get too deep because I want to keep it on the surface, but sometimes I think about this, and this is just my perspective, knowing how rhythm and beat, you know, that how it makes you move, you know, how it influences you. And you can have a beat and a rhythm and people are dance. You know, now you start putting words over it. You know what I mean? So and people are getting these subconscious messages without knowing. And most people, if you understand psychology or the human being, rhythm and these vibrations, it does something to the human body. You know what I mean? And people are just unaware of what's going on because, like you said, kids don't know any better. This sounds good because of the beat. You hear the beat, now you want to hear the song. Yeah. What is he saying? They don't know. La 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 la. They're just putting words together. You know, okay, this sounds good. No. La 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 la. No, these words sound, you know what I mean? But not knowing the impact that it's gonna have down the line. You know what I'm saying? Not knowing what impact is gonna have on that little kid because he got his bread, he got his money. And not knocking people because you got a family, you got to take care of your family. But at what cost?
Right. Yeah, and I'm thinking about it too, like whose responsibility is it? And obviously, you know, it's ongoing, but whose responsibility is it to, I guess, like, is it our fault for liking the music and proliferating the music, or is it like, you know, the responsibility of the artist to be responsible with their product? And then we can get into, which I know you probably want to get into, the disconnect sometimes between what the artist wants to do and their ownership wants to do, because we know oftentimes the artist is here and the people that own the music are here, and that's two very different entities.
Right.
So just thinking about the difference between who really takes the responsibility for that kind of stuff. Because the effect is definitely, I think at this point you'd be lying if you said there was no effect on it, because it seemed like a lot of like the violence between like a lot of the young rappers and stuff like that has kind of kicked up in the past, like maybe 2 years, 2-3 years, something like that, it seems like.
Right. And who, to answer your question, who's to blame? I think everybody's to blame. You blame the consumer and you blame the artist. I don't think it's just one person, because if the consumer didn't buy it, or you know what I mean, they probably wouldn't make that type of music. But the toughest thing is what like I said, this is just my perspective. When we call it the community, you know, I don't even like saying black, because like I said, I'm brown. My hat is black. Anyway, you know what I mean? As far as the community, you know what I mean? I feel like the community has been infiltrated, because like I made in one of my videos, we were told what was black. You know what I'm saying? Outside of us, like our Haitian culture, we know that's real. But as far as a Black American culture, that was given to the people of this land. The quote unquote native people, whatever, look it up, you can say whatever. That was given to the people. You know what I mean? And that they told you how to act. They gave you these movies because like I said, I understand how the mind works. So if you give somebody a thought, they can create it. So without even this person even having the opportunity to live life, you said, here, boom, this is what your life looks. This is what your life should be. And people just follow those paths without even knowing. That's that subconscious stuff. That's that music playing in your head over and over. That's the TV and those movies that you're watching with the gang and the guns and the violence. All of us, look at all the new kids doing rap videos. How many guns do you see?
they be talking big guns. It's crazy. It's tough to think about it sometimes, for sure. Oh, you're
on my camera. I don't know why that cool.
I'm thinking about like there's a lot of power in rap, because I'm thinking about it in my head, and I don't have all the like details per se, but I know the general consensus is that like rock started from Black people. Like in terms of American music, right? You have like classical music comes from like Europe or whatever, so that makes its way over, and that's that. And then like you have rock that kind of stems from America, and that's like genuinely American. And then you have like the jazz movement that's also Black, but also American. And when you think about rock and even jazz, for me to a certain extent, rock, like people had to find out, oh, Black people actually started rock. That's crazy. You know. And then jazz, you know, we know that jazz was inherently like a kind of Black movement. And then over time, you know, it, like you said, how you feel like it's been infiltrated to a certain degree. Like over time, you kind of see those things not become Black anymore. Like me, I'm a very big like jazz fan, and I'm probably, if I was to say that to somebody younger than me or somebody like, what, like you listen to jazz, like they would not have anything, they would not know even the origins of it, or like know that that is something that's actually inherently Black, quote unquote, so to speak, you know what I'm saying? That we actually created. And like thinking about music with like words, like you said, like in comparison to music without words and stuff like that, and the power that has, and the same kind of infiltration happens, and it's multiplied because of the words, you know, for sure. Because I mean, the music is the music in the background, like you said, is vibrations at the end of the day. But yeah, when you put some words over it, when you start talking some mess, it's different.
Yes, I mean, just to go a little deep, just a little deep, and people don't understand that you're always receiving information. In music, that vibration is a form of you receiving information, and people are just totally oblivious to that. You know what I mean? So you can receive that information, but it can be on top of words. Not bad.
So like information besides the words, like
no, information on top of information. You know what I mean? Like it can be a certain like a certain frequency, like I told you about, you know, the 432 hertz and the 444 hertz, and I think the music is ramped up, you know, and that vibration does something. It does something to your body. You know what I mean? And like I said, it's information. Everything is information. Food is information. You know what I mean? Everything is information. Like as you're touching something, you're receiving information.
Right.
So everything that's coming in is doing something to your conscious and subconscious mind. And what he's saying is that you can't disassociate yourself. And what I honestly I believe is true too. It's just not easy. It's not easy because just like you said, we grew up with this. We think this is what we supposed to be. This is what I supposed to listen to.
Definitely.
You know.
You wanna go ahead and finish it out?
Yeah.
For sure.
I was just turning my sound off.
Okay.
Consciously, a lot of times we embody a lot of the things that we take in. I don't want to take that in. You know, I just want to continue to grow. I want to be positive. Anything that I don't feel like aligning with the values that I have or where I'm trying to go, it's important for me to get rid of that. I'm just trying to do some next level stuff in my life. Naturally, financially, spiritually. I can't go focus on God the way that I need to and then right after listen to Future. It just don't line up for me. The importance of me filming it and telling you guys is that that's me making a commitment. I have to look at this video, and a lot of the times when I film stuff and I talk about stuff, what I do is I refer back to it as my inspiration. So this is me making a commitment to never go back into that again. It was an important step for me, and I also know that some people are also going to say, well, all rap isn't bad. For me, the platform itself, you'd have to sift through so much bad to get to the good. And whenever that's the case, I just need to detach myself from it altogether. So I don't want to hold on to things. Like I said, I've been trying to give it up since I was a teenager. I've always known and felt in my heart that it was the right thing for me to do in order to get to some of the levels that I need to get to now. But, you know, at 34 years old, I feel like I'm finally turning the page, and I'm proud about that. I'm happy about it, and I'm making a commitment to it. Let me know what you think. Of course, I'm open to all suggestions, conversations, and perspectives as it pertains to whatever it is that we're talking about here. I don't know, maybe I'm helping you out, maybe I'm just helping myself out, but it was important for me to get this out. What better way to get it out than to come to Hitsville and talk about it, right? I feel like at some point in all of our lives, we all know what it is that we really need to do in our heart for ourselves, for us to get to the next level. For me, it was giving up rap music, and I'm making a commitment to that. There are some other things that I am committed to giving up also, or transitioning into. I feel like I've accomplished.
Man, when he said you gotta sort through it, you want me to finish it out?
Oh no. You
Just
can,
let it.
you
Yeah,
can,
it's good, right? Okay, for sure. We'll go ahead and kick it back in.
Yeah.
But when you said you gotta sift through,
Uh,
I feel like I've been saying that for the last like 4 years.
Really?
You just gotta dig deep, you know. But if you already have your established taste, you know, so you have artists to build off of. But man,
Yeah.
it can definitely be tough if you only listening to the mainstream stuff. Like, thank goodness for I don't think I would ever said this, but streaming. Because if you're listening to the radio or something only or whatever is on like commercials and on TV and stuff like that, you out of luck, man.
They play the same thing over and over and over, and it's a reason. It's a reason for that as well. But just like he said, that you have to sift through, and like, so my question is rap music trash? Like, not saying trash, because some of it is like, it's good quality, it sounds good. The content, I'm talking about the content. Is the content trash, meaning it's worthless and it's pointless? It does nothing for you.
I don't like applying that blanket statement because, like he said, you know, you have to sift through. And I think as somebody who listens to a lot of different kinds of music, I do still like, even though I kind of share some of the same feelings that he has, I do still listen to a lot of rap, whether it's like at the gym or even like if I'm chilling at the house too. But, you know, I do have kind of my set of artists, but there are some times where, say, maybe it's a artist that's a little bit more violent or something like that. So I'm like, okay. I mean, you know, it's different when you're in the gym, you know, when you're getting at work, but at the same time, still kind of, like you said, you're always receiving the information. So you gotta, you know, consciously handle how you're receiving that information and what you're doing with it, you know. So I find that, like, when you're listening to, because I know people that only listen to rap.
Yeah.
Like, I find that when I listen to rap, I'm more liable to make, like, when I listen to a lot of rap, I'm more liable to make like more, not bad decisions, but like spontaneous kind of, maybe without, you know what I'm saying? Just like whatever. That's the rap mentality, right? Just it is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Screw it. Like let's get it popping. You know, that's the thing that.
And don't get it twisted. Like I said, I mean, like I grew up listening to rap music, and before a football game, you know, mystical, here I go, you know, that was fun to listen to.
Yes, sir.
That was fun to listen to before a game, before going to war, playing around.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
It's really
but
war.
In just regular life,
in the trenches,
do I need to be that hype for regular life?
Man, you brushing your teeth to Petey Pablo, trying to get your day started. That's different.
But the content is what I really want to talk about. Why do we glorify genocide? Why do we glorify? And I know, like I said, in my head, it's been infiltrated with the storylines in the music, with the storylines in the movies. So it's been given to us like this is the norm. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
like, why do we not reject that? Being that, knowing that, you know, just one of my friends, just it's been 15 years, dude, and they just found out the killer. When that happened, dude, that shook the whole community of Miami. You know what I'm saying? Like one person, you know, committing a murder, shook a whole community of people, a family. You know what I mean? That's what happens when people die. You know what I'm saying? So why do we sit there and act like it's cool?
How long? I, wow. I don't. That's a serious question, man. I think when I think about like, it's funny that, and I know like you talk about, you go through like football and stuff like that is a good avenue to kind of talk about like mindset and stuff like that, because athletics requires you to work to get to where you want to go. And it's interesting that like when I think about examples of like if I'm like a little kid, right, and I'm like a little black kid, and it's what do you want to be when you grow up, right? How many different examples of like different things do you see people that look like you represented in? It's not a lot more than rapping and athletics, you know? And I don't know where I really don't know how the violence kind of, I think you just get conditioned to it, like you said, because it's already been so ingrained into our quote unquote culture that by the time you're cognitive of what they're actually saying, it's just like, you know, it is what it is. You're listening to it. You think it's in one ear and out the other, but I mean, you know, people rap the words too, so hey, they having fun. I don't know where that comes from. It's all a mix, man. I guess the if the movies are violent and the music is violent, then it goes together. It goes hand in hand, right?
Right. It does. It definitely goes hand in hand. And you mentioned before, you know, sometimes the artist is here, sometimes the people that's running the label is here. So my question is, who's running all these big labels? Right? Because they are the ones that's letting the message get out, basically promoting the message. If we know that they control the message, right? Because if it's up to the artist is just gonna, you know, do what artists do, create art. You know, and after a while, you know, sometimes if you even just say if we talk about Lil Wayne did a rock album. He kind of ventured out, and then sometimes you can see when he get real back in. I don't listen to him now, so I can't speak too much or whatever the case may be. But like, if somebody's creative, just thinking of a regular artist, somebody who draws, who paints, you know, they explore, they do things, you know, and if somebody's creative with words, wouldn't they do the same? Like explore different topics and, you know, different genres of music and, you know, mixing it up and just being artists. You know what I mean? Instead of mixing up the words to how many times they can say nigga, nigga, bitch, I'll shoot you in the face, nigga, nigga, bitch, nigga, mix that up in all your songs.
It's a tough situation because it's like it's continuing to pay out, you know. So there's it's supply and demand. It's kind of simple. Like they're just gonna keep paying for it, you know.
But that's why I call infiltration, because we're not the ones running these big labels. You know what I mean? And I feel like, you know, of course, more representation would help. But at the same time, why would you want to continue to put out a message that's destroying your people? Just like you said, now you have rappers actually killing rappers. We thought that was just music. Like it's actually happening now.
Right.
Like, dude, like I see like, and like I said, you know, I respect the creativity in those guys. You know, those guys are creative, and I guess if influenced the right way, they can create beautiful projects. If influenced the right way, obviously they're not being influenced to, you know, to promote non-violence. They're not, you know, being, you know, taught to promote love. You know, they're not being, because at the same time, because if the label gets what they want. And at the same time, think about this, right? It's a reason why we hear certain songs over and over and over. It's the machine. Like these big, like just say the Baby or whatever, these guys that signed to these big, record labels, they have a machine. They put them behind the machine. It's the reason why you hear it all the time. They force you to like it. They put, just like you said, thank God for streaming services, because now you can pick your own music. Because if you listen to the radio, they're gonna feed you the same stuff in rotation. That's the machine. You know what I'm saying? Like you would pull up YouTube and you see, like, just say, I'm just using the Baby as an example. I actually like some of his music, but it's out there sometimes. You know what I'm saying? But you'll see he'll put up a video or a song and it has like 1 million. It's the machine. You know what I mean? And a lot of people don't know that. The machine is going to continue to put it out and put it in your face because these companies have money to run these ads. They have money to pay these radio stations. It is pay for play. That you might think it's not.
No, definitely.
You might think it's not. Try to get your music on the radio, see what happens.
Yeah, and they exactly, like, and people have exposed it for that, like in that way, like people telling stories about trying to get music on the radio, and then basically that's really the only way to do it. You got to grease somebody's pockets to get to where you want. And speaking to that, and you was talking about getting deep, it's not really deep, but more so on like a cultural, like philosophical level. I think it's indicative of like the shift, and I don't know if there was ever like a big like morality piece in like American culture, but like going from morals to like profit. You get what I'm saying? Because if you think about it, a lot of what they talk about is like, chasing bread, and the rappers, they show themselves as guys that have all this money. And really, and I'm thinking about it like as a young dude with my peers and stuff like that, that's really kind of all we want, you know what I'm saying? Because it's preached that, once you get your bread, you got everything you need.
Right.
You don't really need nothing else. And that's the quickest way to get it, they make it seem like,
Right. Just rapping. And
yeah.
That's tough. Because the tough thing is we need money to survive in this world, in this system that we're living in currently. So the whole thing is just like what you said. We were influenced two ways, and I fell for one and you fell for one too, sports, music, you know what I mean? That's what we saw. Not saying like we didn't see other people in our community, like I didn't see my dad working or other people working in the community, but we were infiltrated by the television and the music because we thought that was reality instead of being attached to what we actually saw around us. Like it depends on what neighborhood you come
Exactly.
from.
It depends. Yeah, then you get back into that. It depends on where you're going.
But the whole thing, what I realized about life is everything is perspective. Even though I grew up in the inner city of Miami, even though my dad was a server at the Hilton, he got up every day to go to work. And a lot of people are like, in a sense, ashamed, you know what I mean, of certain things. Like, just say, for instance, Donald dad, he got up every day to drive that taxi. You know what I'm saying? He was consistent, and they got their bread and they had their homes. Yeah, granted, they didn't live these lavish lives.
Right.
You only know what you're exposed to. You know what I mean? So now that we see that on television, we think, oh, that's the life I want. I don't want to get up and work like my dad every day. You know what I mean? So it's all perspective. So we zoom in, and I think that's what the guy Anton was saying. We zoom in and all of the money and the lifestyle and everything else, and we don't realize what it takes to get there. And is this realistic for my life? You know what I mean? And what? Go ahead.
I was gonna say, not to mention too, if you're hearing like you talk about like abundance a lot, right? And being in like an abundance mindset, and if you continuously hearing like somebody talk about stuff that they have, is gonna continuously put you in this state of wanting, always wanting, needing something more to fulfill your life or whatever it is. So you're always gonna be chasing something, you're never really gonna be content if you always got somebody like pushing a different designer, maybe, a different whatever it is,
Man, dude, and not knocking that, and that's another thing that we talk about, that's part of like a topic all the time, is designer clothes. You know what I mean? And
I'm knocking it because it costs them $5 to make it wherever they're making it. So I'm you won't catch me wasting my bread, but it is what it is. I'm not gonna, because I could go to Goodwill and cut up some fabrics, and if I put the right tag on it, you might drop a little bit of bread, But hey, you'll never know. But
that's crazy. And it's so crazy, right? It's so crazy. It's so crazy. It's so crazy. It's so crazy. But if you think about that, people are so quick to, because I feel like this is my perspective, that the community has been infiltrated, that they don't realize what happened to their subconscious mind. Like I told you, we had on that last conversation, Gucci, you hear these things, where do you hear about the latest designer? These artists, the artists put it out. Right. You know what I'm saying? Now all of a sudden, the baby's wearing, I'm using the baby as a reference point. Right.
Just because it's easy to go to. I get you.
I don't know many new rappers, so you know what I'm saying. Like he was one of the new rappers that I actually listened to some of his music, so I'm using him. You know what I mean? Oh, the baby got the latest Louis Vuitton this or that. Mm-hmm. So now everybody else want it. You know what I mean? Because that you don't understand what's happening to your subconscious mind as you hearing the song over and over, Gucci, over Gucci. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh man, you know what I'm saying? Dude, this is what I do. I understand the mind. You know what I mean? And we go through life, and then we don't realize where our behaviors come from. You know what I mean? Our behaviors come from somewhere. Somebody planted that seed. And I think that's exactly what that guy Anton is talking about. Nothing positive can come out of it, because most of the music is really preaching a negative lifestyle, or a lifestyle that's going to get you locked up. You know what I mean? Or a lifestyle that you're just not going to be able to afford.
It's so interesting too. I think about like what other cultures have this like proliferation of like putting violence and stuff like that in your face, and like how I don't know if we had talked one time about kind of around the time when like the George Floyd stuff had happened and stuff like that, and it was like all over the internet, right? And how not too many other people kind of like are exposed to seeing people that look like them like being harmed like that, you get what I'm saying? And then like the music talks about harming people that look like you and stuff like that. What other cultures have that same aspect? You know what I'm saying? Like country music, they talk about trucks, they talk about drinking beer, you know what I'm saying? They be happy,
they having a
they
good
be good, they having a grand old time, you know what I'm saying? I mean, a lot of I don't know what they be talking about in rocks and that. They be having a good time too, you know what I'm saying? They don't want no problems.
Right.
But if and if they do, they'll keep it to themselves. If it's a problem, you could come see type of deal. But everybody it's interesting. Nobody else kind of has to deal with that. I don't know,
No, it's true, and it's funny. That was on one of my questions. I don't know if I asked the question, but what other genre of music promotes genocide or violence? You know what I mean? Like what other culture do you see that or listen? Even if you just say, for instance, if we listen to, our music, I don't know how much you're into Haitian music. That's not what they talking about. I don't know about now. I don't want to speak. But when I was growing up, it was a lot of baby making music. That's what they love talking about.
A lot of sweetness.
A lot of sweetness, a lot of dancing music, you know what I mean? That type of stuff. Caribbean style. I don't know any other genre of music where it's basically negative, where you talk about killing people, degrading women, or whatever, or even getting money. I don't think I've ever heard. We know as adults that's what you gotta do is get money, because you're not gonna be able to survive. But at the same time, I never even heard a genre of music talk about getting money. I can be wrong. Tell me.
I don't know. I would say this is just one example, but like, rap is kind of global now. So it's everywhere. And there's certain music and stuff like that, like even Spanish music. Like I listen to a lot of music. Some, like how you said with words, sometimes I listen to music with words like in a different language. Like I don't understand it sometimes, but it it contributes more to the sonic and less of like, you know what I'm saying? Like you don't have to tune into it as much, whatever. It does not consume. Because sometimes I listen to music, I'm like, yo, shut up. You get what I'm saying? Like stop talking type deal. Like you just yapping over the beat, right?
Yeah.
But like even in like some different types of music that come from Mexico and stuff like that, there's like a subgenre now that's really popular that is more like violent and more about like running drugs and stuff like that, and kind of that's more what they talk about, and it's more popular with like the young kids and stuff like that now for sure. Yeah, so the rap is kind of contributing to that, and I feel like it's growing in that way, definitely.
Oh.
Yeah,
Man, I want to see that community or those communities 10 years from now, to see if it's a difference of the people and how they treat each other. You know what I mean? Because I really believe, I don't like, as just being from my background, you know, having the opportunity to coach, having the opportunity to teach. And when I was teaching, I taught middle school and I coached middle school and high school. And some of the kids are in college now. And you watch some of these kids, and just me as a teacher, I watch some of these kids that people say are quote unquote bad. Or before, just say even before I taught, I worked in a group home. I worked in a group home, and some of these kids were gang members. These kids were not bad. They were just misinformed and influenced by the wrong people. I'm just being honest with you. Like having conversation with kids that people quote unquote say are bad, they're just misguided with
when you say
bad information.
misinformed, okay. When you say misinformed, yeah, what do you mean by that?
Bad
like
information. Like what we talking about with rap music, like what's cool and what to glorify.
Okay, right.
You know what I mean? A lot of people are misinformed because the whole thing is I could have easily been misinformed, but I had a dad in the house to smack me straight. People like, man, turn that down. I want to turn the music up. Turn it down. I don't want to hear all that, because they would cuss you. Like, I don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? As a kid, like you think it's cool, like you getting hyped. I'm like, man, my dad would like turn that crap down. I don't want to hear that. You know what I mean? But I thought it was cool, and I'm not gonna lie. For me, you know, at my, like, Tupac was one of my favorites. But as a teenager down there in Miami, I think this when, and I know you weren't born, you were young, when Master P and No Limit and those guys were doing their thing, and Cash Money, and man, I would buy every single. I think my first album that I bought, and I remember my friends making fun of me in middle school, because my dad, he wasn't with that. I'm like, man, I don't want to buy this stuff for you. You know what I mean? But I begged him, you know what I mean? Because I thought it was cool. You know what I mean? I thought it was cool. And my first, I think, CD was that I purchased, a CD was, because I didn't buy any tapes. I would just get the tapes from my cousin, was Busta Rhymes. His one of his albums, I think it was ELE. That was his not his first album. That was the first album I purchased with my money. You know what I mean? I remember opening up the CD and then, you know, pulling out the thing and reading the, you know, the credits and all of that. The book, you know, and I thought it was so cool. And I had my little CD player with the headphones. And back then we had the headphones where like you couldn't touch it. Like if you touch it, it would skip. It would skip, man, out. So you had to, you know what I'm saying? And then they came out with the anti-skip one where you can kind of shake it a little bit. Man, technology has changed.
Oh, like the CD player.
The CD player, yeah, the portable CD player.
Okay.
And I would walk around in high school, you know, with that on. You know, my dad didn't like me for to take it to school, but I thought it was cool, just like these kids are doing now. That's just, you just misinformed. You just, all right, you think this is the culture. You watch TV, you know what I mean? And you see what, just say, athletes are doing. They're listening to the music, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? And you're just kind of following in their footsteps because you're trying to figure yourself out as a kid in this world. And you look at what the adults are doing. And honestly, once you reach a certain age, like that teenage stage, what your parents doing ain't cool. I don't care who your parent, like, unless, I mean, LeBron James or somebody, Bronny, I don't know. I mean, he might not say his dad not cool. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But somebody, you know, just like a regular kid might not think what his dad is doing is cool. You know what I mean? He might want to, you know, venture out or look out to the world because that's just the mindset of a teenager. The mindset of a teenager is more so whatever their peers think or whatever is popular is what's most important to them. And it sucks because people who understand psychology and the human mind and how it develops, They understand that. And it sucks because these companies pay this big money and they understand how we work. They understand how our kids work, but we don't. You know what I mean? So people are walking and living life in autopilot and behaving in ways that they don't know, like, okay, where did this come from? Where did this behavior come? Why do I like this? Nobody questions that because it was given to you. Never once did you sit there and analyze your behaviors and where your behaviors came from. Because a lot of times in our culture, you don't even have time to do that. Everybody is busy working, chasing the bag. Nobody has a chance to sit down and analyze and self-aware and understand their environment and what influenced their behaviors. And a lot of it came from the music and the television. You know what I mean? A lot of your thoughts and ideas come from the culture. You know what I mean? But is it positive? Look at our kids. Look at the rapper. You know what I mean? Is it positive? Now, granted, there's always a give and take. Something's good, something's bad. It's going to be some positive in it. But in the long run, moving where we're moving, is rap music good for our future, good for our culture, quote unquote, and good for the community? I'm talking about the kids.
Yeah. I think, let me ask you this. Do you think there exists, I don't know what you listen to right now. I think one big thing with rap that's never gonna go away is just something about that energy, you know, like you said, with the beats. There's no replacement for, like, I listen to a lot of jazz. I listen to some like stuff from Brazil. I listen to stuff in Spanish, you know what I'm saying? A lot of very, you know, melodical guitars and a lot of that smooth energy or whatever. But when I need to, when I'm ready to lock in, like I said, when I'm going to the gym or something like that, when I'm ready to get that work, that rap music, bro, you got to, because it's nothing like, what else are you, you know what I'm saying? Like you said, before getting on the field, I remember my senior year, I had like a little playlist, you know, I would pop that playlist on at a certain time when we were in the locker room, and that's when you get ready. You sit in your locker and you like you said, you get ready for war.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, I mean, like I said, it's just a conversation to have, but go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, that energy, there's something to be said about that, you know, and maybe moving on in the future, maybe it doesn't have to be rap, but I think that's definitely necessary. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's because that energy has been created and has been so like important. If rap is gonna change, something is gonna have to occupy that energy as well. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, because there's nothing really like that, I feel like.
I think things will evolve. I don't think it's gonna change. It's gonna always be here to stay, because it's a lot of people who like it. It's not going anywhere. But I believe it will evolve. It can, let's say that it can evolve the content. I don't think the energy should die, because the energy is good. It's the content is what we're talking about. That, you know what I mean? That things that don't really matter. You know what I mean? Things that are harmful. You know what I mean? Like those type of things to repeat over and over to a young mind, because as adults, I'm telling you, it really doesn't matter for us. If you make a dumb decision, that's on you. It's kids, they're growing, you know what I mean? We're giving them a false reality, you know what I mean? Let's be more realistic. If we're gonna be adults, you know what I mean, and passing on to the next generation of kids, you know what I'm saying? Let's be mindful of our actions, because you know our footprints, you leave footprints, you leave stains, you know what I mean? So and those footprints, those kids start to follow behind. And if we know those things aren't good for kids, you know what I mean, let's not lay those traps down. You know what I mean? Let's not lay those traps down. If you know that you'll make a song, but you won't let your son or daughter listen to it. You know what I mean? If they can't listen to it, why do you want everybody else to listen to it? You know what I mean? But that's a choice that adults have to make. That's why I don't think the music is going anywhere. It's just up to the artist, you know, to stay true to self. You know what I mean? If that's what you want to talk about in violence, you go ahead and do it. But if the label is making you do it, come on now. If you feel like you're that great, you should be I don't want to say that I don't want to tell people what they should do, but as an artist, if you have a big following, you should be able to create your own entities and have people work for you and work around you. You should be able to do that if you're that good. I don't understand. Maybe because I'm not in that position. I don't understand the guys that are in the, up in the higher positions and they get jerked around. I think that's stupid. You already gotta have to
Mm,
follow them. You know what I mean? So, but I don't think it's going anywhere. But I think the newer wave of rappers, quote unquote, are artists. I don't want to say that because the whole thing is, do they have a platform? Do they have a platform? The guys who don't speak, about the negativity in the community, do they have a platform? You know what I mean? Is it getting promoted? Is it getting pushed by the machine? That's the challenge. That's the challenge that they face.
no, because you would hear it. It's interesting, like, and I think about like different people grow up in different environments and stuff like that. You talked about growing up in like inner city Miami or whatever, and like different guys growing up around, they grow up around more violence and stuff like that. So is it their fault if they talk about kind of what they know, or like at what point? I don't know, it's weird because like you go from doing what you do, you know what I'm saying, whatever you're doing in the street, and then you start rapping about what you're doing in the street, and then that gets you money, and then you start spending your money, so you start rapping about spending your money, and also, it says very like, where does that, maybe we should start like scouting rappers from different places or something. Is that the answer? Go into different neighborhoods, like, hey, can you rap? Like,
I just think, honestly, it's a good conversation to put out there. It's always a good conversation to have because, like I said, I honestly don't think it's going anywhere. It's too many people that like it.
not at all.
And it's too many companies that make so much money off of it that I don't think it's going anywhere. But the question is the after effect. Is it a positive thing for the community? Is it a positive thing for kids? You know what I mean? That's the question that I ask,
Yeah.
But
At
yeah,
this
man.
point-
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say at this point, I would definitely, if I'm asking myself, just from experience, I would definitely say no.
Mhm.
At this point in life, like thinking about my relationship with rap, like I said, kind of feeling like you're more liable to be spontaneous. You're more liable to like kind of have less regard for like, mind you, being younger, like you might not know the consequences or nothing like that, but you have less regard for those consequences.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that's not what rap is about. It's about being in that moment.
And the thing is, like, and I think this is slowly changing, but it's still up there. Athlete or artist. I'm not artist. Athlete or rapper. Why is that the two things that people continue to look for?